Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Vicki Townsend, and I'm the founder and president of Divorce Right. And we provide training for HR professionals and company supervisors. And we provide divorce coaching and case management, providing guidance and direction that your divorcing employees so desperately need. And I want to introduce you to my amazing friend and colleague, Paulette Rigo. Paulette is a certified divorce coach, a certified divorce specialist, a credentialed mediator, and director of coaching and case management here at Divorce Right. And together, we tackle the biggest disruptor in your company, and that's divorce. And I want to have a reminder for everybody that we have SHRM credits for SHRM members, and we will post that link at the end of this broadcast so you can grab those. And today, we're going to be talking about the solutions that we bring to the table for your divorcing employees so that we can help you help them become a better, more productive member of your team. And we can save not only your employees a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of heartache, but we can save your company millions of dollars each and every year by just managing this. And I want to introduce you, Paulette. You have been such an important part of this process, and we're going to talk about the amazing thing that you created and how we've integrated that here into Divorce Right. But so I want to just share with everybody that we have 3 products that we bring to the table. The first is called Manage Right, the second one is called Plan Right, and the third is called Resolve Right. And so we bring those to the table to help you help your employees manage this traumatic life event in a much more graceful way. Would you say, Paulette?
Well, that's the goal. The more tools companies, HR directors, and employees and families have, they can get through the process a lot faster, spending a tremendous less amount of money, which can be so expensive. I think last week we interviewed
Dr. David Schramm. Yes.
Thank you. I just had a brain loss. And he was saying the average divorce now, and the average is about $30,000. So that's a lot of money. And if you're going to just jump into this without knowing, that could, be a lot more. And the results are going to be different if you don't have a plan. And most employees are really at a loss for managing everything that gets thrown at them. They just don't know what's coming.
Well, who would? I mean, it's not like something that you study in school. There's not a course for you to take until now. And, how do you know? You wake up one morning and you find out you're going through a divorce. And then what? We expect you to know what to do. And that's the worst part. And also, the brand of divorce is very conflictive, right? It's like, you better get a shark, you better get a bulldog, you got to get somebody that's I'm going to rip that, my partner apart. All that's the brand that divorce has. And oftentimes going down that path can be the worst decision for yourself and for your family, right? I mean, let's just face it, that's the expensive part.
Well, 97% of divorce cases don't go to trial, right? So only 3% go to trial, but that 3% does need to litigate.
Yes,
for many
absolutely.
people, not every case can be done in such a way that it's going to be mediated privately prior to litigation, where the parties are going to come together in good faith with a neutral party to facilitate a conversation where both parties feel involved and heard and seen, and they can walk away feeling like, well, that wasn't what I was looking for, but it's a plan that we can live with. It's going to be okay for both parties. It's going to be okay for the children and the family unit as a whole. So those 3% of the cases, well, mostly they need a bulldog or a shark or whatever animal you want to throw in there. That's going to be the label. I hate to label it, but somebody that's really going to be an amazing litigator, cross-examiner, and be great in the courtroom, because that's what litigated cases come to, is hearings and judges and witnesses and evidence and being on the stand. And it's a complicated legal system when it comes to family law, whether it be custody, adoption, or divorce. So, but what about the other 96, 7%, not the 3%. So, and that's not to say that those cases never step foot in a courtroom. That isn't my message, but those cases typically need a legal advice, legal counsel, legal
legal review of documents, right? But
Exactly.
not full fighting in the, gloves that come off kind of way. So let's talk about the first product that we have, and that's called Manage Right. And the reason that we start there is Manage Right is for your HR managers, they're for your company supervisors, anybody in a leadership capacity that has direct reports, that really has their nose to the grindstone, right? They're the ones that see somebody coming in, running in late to work or leaving early, somebody that's having unexplained miss absences and just behaviors at work that just aren't their normal way of behaving and being. So we want to train those people as to what to look for when somebody's going through a divorce, because there are some very obvious signs and some not so obvious signs. And that can be your key to just reminding them of the benefits that you have, because you don't want to go into their private life, right? But just reminding them that there is divorce benefits. And so what I want to tell everybody about, what this training program is, it really gives you an overall understanding of well, first of all, the 5 ways that employees can get divorced in this country. And then we go into some of the cultural differences, right? Some of the issues that are facing LGBTQ family members that are getting a divorce. They've only been able to get married for less than a dozen years now, or less than a decade now. And so they have all sorts of issues, including, child custody, parenting, biological parenting. But also if they were together, for 20 years, and then they were finally able to get married in 2015, but now they're still in a short-term marriage, right? So a lot of things go sideways. We deal with, in the Asian culture, there's a great deal of prearranged marriages, which comes with their own slate of challenges when they want to go through a divorce. We talk about religious differences in marriages and the pressures of getting a Jewish get or a Catholic annulment. In the Muslim religion, they have them as well. So, we talk about all of those things just to give you some awareness as a team leader with some of the things that they might be going through that you might not be able to see, including we talk about domestic violence, coercive control. We talk about families with special needs members. So we really want to give you an overall cultural shift as to how you deal and manage with divorcing employees. Because I think before, well, first of all, there's never been a solution until now. We are the first to market with this solution, and which is kind of a shame, but it is what it is. So until now, it's been easy to say, it's none of my business. Because there was never any solution. So what are they going to say? And it's, very personal matter. But when you do our divorce calculator and find out how much divorce is actually costing your company, and if you want to find that out, you can go to our website at www.divorcerightInc.com, and you can find out how much divorce actually costs your company. And when you realize that number is in the hundreds of thousands to in the millions, and even in some cases, when you get into the really large companies, it can be about $250 million a year in lost productivity. That's when you realize that divorce is your business, and that this is a smart business decision, not only for maintaining your current employee staff, right? Keeping them employed, keeping them with their head in the game, keeping them productive, keeping them happy. You create this loyal, employee to stay with your firm, and they become better because of it. So what we want to do is just kind of give you some awareness of some of the things that they're going in, so that at the end of the day, you can get in there early before all of this head spinning turns into years, because this 40% loss of productivity can go on for about 5 years, right?
Yeah.
It's no joke. And so this head spinning craziness that they go through, I believe comes from uncertainty because they just don't know what's coming at them. And when you don't know, you don't have a plan, you don't have direction, you don't have guidance, you have no idea what some of the decisions are that you're making, how that's going to impact you with your taxes, how you're going to live, how you're going to take care of your children. All of that is very, very scary. So at the end of the day, we want to get your employees the support and resources that they need early so that we can help them and we can help you at the same time. So that's Manage Right. And that is a 5-hour, there's SHRM credits for that for your SHRM members. And it's just a really good little over 5 hours worth of information about how you can be more empathetic and a better leader for your divorcing employees. So that's number one. Product number two, I'm going to turn this over to Paulette because we have Plan Right, and it's your better divorce blueprint. And Paulette is the master of this. She put this together, and I'm going to let her tell you about it. But this is what your employees need for their divorce. So why don't you tell them about that, Paulette?
Of course. Well, I just want to tie up that transition between 1 to 2, because phase 1 or toolbox 1 is really that knowledge that the outlookers or the person that's not personally involved needs in their toolbox so that they have more awareness and insight of the process. Because unless you've gone through divorce, or even if you have, it's going to be a different emotional and pragmatic approach than when you're handling it from a business perspective. It's very common for employees to become poker face and I'm fine and I've got to put on that brave bravado and I don't want anyone to know. There's a sense of embarrassment or confusion and overwhelm when they go to work. And chances are, particularly in this culture of people quitting or moving and kind of having that sense of like, gee, I'm not even sure I want to do this anymore. Companies need to hold on to their valuable employees. It's important that they're not having a greater turnover due to divorce. Companies have every solution from death, bereavement, vacations, dental, doctors, medical. We have a solution or at least resources for employees in pretty much every other area of their life except divorce. And it's amazing that this has not been addressed earlier, but kudos to you, Vicki, for having the insight in, my world. I mean, I live this every day. So, it's been no shock to me. I see company employees on a daily basis saying, oh, I'm afraid to tell my boss. I don't know what to say. And how are they going to take the news? I need more time off. And, it's a fear, I was speaking to a client this morning that's a nurse at a cancer center. And here she is at her time between clients, between 10:30 and noon on a call with me, afraid like, well, what if, my boss finds out and she wasn't doing anything wrong. She was on point, dressed on time, but I was able to keep her focused and able to keep her from going down a long, winding road of catastrophe and what ifs and fear and filing and many other types of bad decision making that happen when they don't have somebody there that can hold their hand and literally and figuratively and get them to go through it practically, calmly, logically. Yes, there's some emotion involved. We're not going to negate that at all. But that's where I see that segue between where phase or step 1 with the company HR departments kind of phasing into the work that I do. I'm not an HR professional, nor would I ever want that position. I have the utmost respect and kudos for those professionals. But where I pick up is really that knowledge of helping the employee, the person, the family, and yes, the company as a whole if they're interested or need that knowledge, to be able to have the big picture, the overall 30,000-foot view, if we want to use that analogy, of what the process of divorce looks like. And again, we're not pro-divorce. I do not run around
No.
giving my business card to people like, hey, you guys look like you should get a divorce. That's not what I do. I'm not pro-divorce. I'm not pro-litigation. I'm not anti-divorce or anti-litigation. I'm proactive, allowing an individual or a couple or even a company looking at a case and saying, is this something we will benefit from, helping our employees and myself if it's an individual, so that I can get through this wisely. So what I've done over the last decade, it's going on about 15 years now, is I started taking copious notes. And I had workbook after workbook after notebook after notebook after 3-ring binder. You get the picture of my own personal experience, having gone through a litigated case with a trial and a appellate court process, and my clients, and now I've lost count, but hundreds of them. And I started to notice parallels and repetitive patterns and stories. And I noticed, this is logical. This is practical. There's 3 stages of divorce before, which would be confusion, overwhelm, fear, researching, organization, knowledge, like fact gathering, determining their why. Why is this happening to me? Why am I considering it? Why is my partner starting these conversations? Why is this happening? Because there's this whole whirlpool, where you get caught in a cyclone of the emotional, mental, physical aspects of it. But yet there's also the fact gathering and the numbers and the judicial, legal, financial, lending, insurance, taxes, insurance side of it that's very practical, that there's no emotion. It's just, notice how I'm talking. All the way to, and where do those 2 worlds collide? They really don't. And the more well, they do, and it's called a mess, a legal, lengthy, expensive, horrendous mess. So the more the person and the family can understand and break that down from stage 1 or contemplation before, and then once that really starts to simmer and they can look at it and getting out of the stages of grief, getting out of the reasons why couples divorce, getting out of the as you mentioned, the different methods and what method might work best for you, and how well can a couple consider if the question, can this marriage be saved? Now, remember, it takes 2 to tango, as we say, and I used to be a dance teacher. So, if both parties are not willing to put forth the effort, that's where the conflict can sometimes magnify. Now, getting into stage 2, which would be the during, once one party has filed and they're the plaintiff and the other is the defendant, you're now embroiled in a litigated situation. Not to say that mediation can't be a part of litigation. Hopefully you've considered mediation prior to that, if it's possible. But now you've really got to understand all the professionals. Who are they? What do they do? How expensive are they? How do you find the right professionals? Do you need a certified divorce financial analyst? Maybe you do. Do you need a certified divorce lending professional? Maybe you do. Do you need a co-parenting expert? Do you need a mental health expert? Is there domestic violence? Is it high conflict? As you mentioned earlier, some of those very specific niches of special needs, religion, culture, and those are not everybody is affected by those, but if you are, you better know that those could add a little bit more salt and pepper to the equation or complication in the domestic relations financial affidavit, because there could be some secrecy, or I don't know, I can't even figure this out. I've never looked at a tax return. What does this mean? So all of the different aspects of it. Now, how to tell the children. That's yes, it's a little bit of a before, but it's really more of a during. Because if the divorce isn't going to happen and you're still in the contemplating stage, I don't suggest you have a conversation with
With your
anyone.
children.
The children do not need to be engaging in being involved in anything, regardless of whether they're 3 months old or 30. Keep them out of it. So the stage 2 is the during, and it's really the facts and the nuts and bolts of the entire process of divorce. And that could be everything from, well, my shortest one was 43 days. My longest one, well, probably mine. But I know a couple that were longer, so about 10 years. Now, the average is, 8 to 18 months. So don't panic, everyone. But now, once you've gotten through the process, it doesn't end there.
It doesn't.
Phase 3 kicks in, and now it's the after. So what does that look like? Well, enforcement, compliance, parenting plans, child support, making sure that that's all lived up to, shall we say. And at what point does that terminate? Spousal support does not last forever. You should have a plan B. And child support does not last forever. You need to have a plan B, whether you're the giver, the receiver, or it's 50-50. Co-parenting, parallel parenting, counter parenting, all those types of things, name changing, careers, moving, dating, getting remarried. I could keep going, but the whole sense of the chapter after divorce, what does that look like? It's a liberating, freeing feeling, but Vicki, it's also a big responsibility.
Very.
So don't take that final chapter as some like, yes, it is like kind of, I see a lot of freedom in many clients when they feel that sense of like, I'm almost done, I'm almost done, I'm almost done. But yet there is like, wow, what now? So that's why Better Divorce Blueprint exists. It takes you from everything from that very early stages of that tiny little butterflies in the stomach feeling of, oh no, what's wrong? And the average amount of time that people typically contemplate divorce is 2 years. 2. Now that's the average, everyone. So that's,
Right.
Some people just
Yep.
throw it out and say, yeah, let's get it done. And others sit around and think about it for 10 years or more. But the average is about 2 years. Why? Fear, uncertainty, not having a plan, and not understanding.
Uncertainty. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Divorce is uncertainty. It is absolute uncertainty. And that's where all of this head spinning goes. So that's what I love about your Better Divorce Blueprint, the Plan Right plan, is that at the end of it, it's just to let everybody know it is a 10+ hour video course, interactive course that they take, that Paulette is directing them through. It includes a book and a workbook, and then weekly group coaching calls with a divorce coach like Paulette that can actually answer questions for them. I want to remind everybody, we do not provide legal advice, but we do provide guidance and direction, and we get them to the place where they want to be. And what I love about your Better Divorce Blueprint is that they walk out, your employee walks out with the divorce that is right and the plan that is right for them. It's not the right one for you. It's not the right one for me or for Betty Sue down the hall. It's not. It's what's right for them. And you have to sit there and let them experience this and go through this the best way for them. And I say that, and I want to move into the next phase, which our third product is called Resolve Right. And this is for those employees that need a little bit more, they feel that they need a little bit more hand-holding, a little bit more support. Perhaps their case is even a little bit more complicated, those complex, particularly financially, when there's a lot of companies involved or a lot of different revenue streams involved. So what we do in that case is we have certified divorce coaches, and just FYI, we have over 50. They include divorce coaches that are former family law attorneys. We have some that are mediators like Paulette and many others. We have some that are former financial advisors and former mental health experts, but we got them that speak Chinese, Japanese, Farsi, the Indian dialects, Spanish, English. We have a Jewish rabbi that is a divorce coach. We have people that are experts in LGBTQ and special needs, immigration issues, and so much more. So we can, this is like the world's worst way to explain it, but we match make them, right? And pardon the pun in this case, but we match make them. Right, exactly. With the right coach for their situation. And we can both figuratively and literally lock arms with them and go to court with them if that is what is necessary. And this may be something that, you want to consider for your executive team, your C-suite executives. And maybe it's everybody. When you guys start to realize as employers how much this saves your company every year, I think it's going to be something that you're going to go, yeah, this is something that we should make available to everybody. But we can certainly start at the top and work our way down, or if we can certainly have those conversations. And that's what I want to end this call with. And that is to set up a call with either Paulette or myself and talk about how we can help your company and we can then help your employees stay focused, stay productive, and stay happy. At the end of the day, when they have a plan, when they can see that they have somebody to give them some guidance and direction, that they're not in this alone, they can calm down, they can take a breath, and they can actually become a real force of nature at your office. So Paulette, thank you so much. I'm going to, if you want to put your email address, tell them what your email address is, and I will tell mine. And we offer an opportunity to have a consultation with us, and we are absolutely thrilled to do it. Paulette, why don't you give them your information, and then I will give mine.
Sure. Well, it's Paulette at divorcerightinc.com. Paulette is spelled Paulette. And know that divorce is individual, and the course is going to be that overview, the online course, the book, the workbook, those group meetings where you feel educated, but it's not going to be an individual deep dive. So step 3 is going to take a deep dive in your particular DNA, thumbprint, snowflake, well, however you visualize that, because every divorce is different, just like every marriage, and it's going to keep your employees employed. I work with so many corporate executives, company owners, entrepreneurs, business people that thank me for not having their business go out of business because they were able to keep their act together. And divorce typically for business owners can be complex because there's, well, more to think about. So that's where those individual step 3 results come in, where they're able to get, but what about my case and my children and my spouse and my business? Because we can't do that in a group because everybody's different. So that's where my expertise comes into, is be able to take that snapshot of your business, your life, your situation, and be able to give you a plan of who to work with and how to get the best results. So if you need that, that's why I'm here on the team and my expertise and why I'm part of Divorce Right.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm Vicki with a Y at divorcerightinc.com. So we look forward to helping you and your team members get through a traumatic life event that sucks for everyone, right? This is not a good on its best day. It's not good. So we look forward to helping you and your team come through this a little bit better, a little bit less bumps and bruises. And so we want to support your team, your company, and your employees. So thank you so much, Paulette. Thank you again for doing this with us. We do this every Thursday at 1:00 Eastern time. We look forward to talking to you all next week as we provide solutions for divorce in the workplace. Bye for now, everybody. Thank you, Paulette.